Hey everybody, we just want to welcome you to the Google Hangout. We're trying to make sure that we do these every other Wednesday so that we answer all the questions that are being sent in the previous 2 weeks. We're trying to maintain this schedule because we know that some of you have questions and you want them answered, but we also need time to get you answers. We're really excited because the total number of Trek students actually is way up this year, and we're really excited to hear just some of the stories that you're telling us. And if you want to post something or tell us what's going on with your group, we'd love to hear about it. I've been working with a group the last several weeks and working with the Trek material and been really excited and having a lot of fun playing with it just with some students and watching them respond to it and react to it. So let's hear some questions. Jonathan, what do we have today?
I've got a few questions, but if you are going to be watching online and you have questions, we have a Q&A section on the Google Hangout that you can type your question in, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
Well, first off, we have a lot of different questions regarding the Bible reading for Trek. Questions about, is it required or is it not required, and if so, when is it required or not? So just add some clarification to the requirements for Bible reading.
Okay. So let's clarify what the Bible reading's for. We know that we've gotten some stories back from some youth groups who are actually using Trek, and they've decided not to do the Bible reading because realistically they're not after an award. They're just going to use it as their youth group curriculum. That's all they're doing, so they see the Bible reading as optional, which it can be if your group essentially is not interested in any of the awards that Awana provides. The Bible reading is really serves two purposes. One, it's a qualification for an award, and just so we're clear, you are pursuing a meritorious award. Now, and I'll get back to that in a moment about what those qualifications need to be, because we've had some other questions I've heard about that. But it's also a way to get students engaged in God's Word on a regular basis, to understand the basic background behind each book, and also to understand a central verse that helps kind of open and explain the rest of the book for them. So even if you're doing it as, well, we're not interested in getting awards, I'd still encourage you to have them do the Bible reading. Just be on track with that, because I think there's some phenomenal stuff taking place, especially as you're going to get into Trek 2 and 3, where they're actually going to be working through a good chunk of New Testament passages. It'd be really helpful if they'd read through and started reading through now and then continued on as they went forward the New Testament Bible reading, because it will lay groundwork for them to understand, oh, so this book relates to this book this way, or this book means this, or this is why Paul wrote this book. Because they're going to get to Paul, and they'll talk a little bit about him later on as they get into Trek 3. But is it required in the sense that if you're doing Trek in your church and you're using it for your youth group and you kind of have decided, hey, we really like these books, but we're not sure we want to add all this other work, at the end of the day, this is about you and your students and knowing exactly what it is that you need to do for them. We're encouraging you to do the Bible reading. We're requiring the Bible reading to get awards going forward. But if you choose to use our curriculum differently and choose to use it just for a youth ministry thing and don't want to add the Bible reading, at the end of the day, that's all about your decision and what's best for your students. Now, just to clarify, Jonathan, I heard you say earlier we had some questions that were about the Bible reading and when it was required and what awards they were going to get from it and that kind of thing. Is that another part of this?
Right. Basically, when is it required, and but I think you kind of answered that as far as it being required for the different Awana awards.
So just to clarify, and so I've had a couple other questions since I've been out. Some people asked me, so are you saying that to get a meritorious award this year, they have to finish all the New Testament reading and all the Bible summaries and all the key verses? And my response is, that's up to you for this year. If you choose to use the old plan, then they are not really going to have to do that to get a meritorious. That's not what we did in previous years, so we're not going to expect them to do that if that's what your church decides to do. If, however, you want to plow through and say, hey, you know what, jump in, do it now, and do all the Bible readings, do all the summaries, then that's up to you as well. This one-year transition, we're leaving you a lot of leeway to kind of make a determination as to how you're going to sell or pitch to them what a meritorious award is. After this year, the Bible reading will be required for a meritorious. This 1 year, that's a transition. When we knew we were launching a new curriculum, we are leaving it up to you. to decide, you want to go with the old plan of what a meritorious was, or do you want to go with the new one? It's your choice. Next year, it'll be very clear. There's only one path to do it, and that is do all the Bible reading, do all the summaries and all the verses to get a meritorious award starting next year. But this year, you decide.
Okay, we have a question from Luke who's watching right now. He was wondering what most groups do for the reading for 8th graders. I'm not sure if that means how they're handling the transition for the reading, or...
Right. If you're asking what most groups are doing, that'd probably be a little tricky to answer because every group does their own thing. What I've seen kind of two paths. The one that seems to be the most popular so far in the interactions that I've had. That's not meaning it's the most popular out there. But the one that I've seen that was there were a bunch of people who basically said, and you have two camps. The first camp, which seems to be the more popular in my mind, just from my personal experience, which, again, is only a handful of groups, is that they actually had the 8th grade students start doing the Bible reading for the New Testament for 1 year, so whatever the first year's Bible reading was, and the summaries, because that's what they're going to have to do when they get to Journey. So essentially they'd just be getting their 8th graders ahead for when they get to Journey, not doing the Bible verses. So they're basically working off the old plan, but they're just letting them work ahead on what they already have to do in Journey right now. The Journey students right now have to read the entire Bible and say a summary for each book. So essentially what they're doing is allowing their middle school students to start doing the Bible readings and summaries like the Journey students used to this year so that they could engage with their friends around discussions about these books so that they were all kind of working together. However, they haven't added the key verses. That's the handful of people, the most of the ones that I've talked to. There are some others, though, that are saying, listen, we really believe in this, we really think it's important, and they've been plowing forward going, listen, do as many as you can. If that's 20 of the 27 New Testament books, awesome. Do 20 of them, and when you get to Journey, you're only going to have to do 7 more. So you're really a little behind, but you'll have 7 books of the New Testament to finish in 4 years of high school. It won't throw you off. It seems like people have kind of literally kept that. We're either going gung-ho, or we're going to let the 8th graders keep going with what they've been doing because that's what Journey's going to do in the future. We're just going to let them get a little bit of a head start. That seems to be the two most popular answers that I've gotten so far, but that's only a handful of groups that I've been to this year that have started since the beginning of the year. So that makes sense? Luke's watching.
Yeah, if you have a follow-up question on that, Luke, let us know. Post another question.
Yeah, please.
And if you're just joining us, you can ask questions live using the Q&A feature on the Google Hangout, and we'll take those. I have another question. What do you recommend for the first week of Trek as far as a lesson goes? Assuming students don't have their books just yet, and maybe this group already has gone through the Trek check the previous year, knowing the Trek check for the most part hasn't been really changed much. Right. Any suggestions for how to do that first group meeting?
Yeah, so what I've done actually for the first group meeting, I think it's extremely important, especially if you're going to use the same small group for the rest of the year. I've actually done a big game at the beginning, just to kind of getting to know you game. So this would be a collaborative game. I usually break games down into competitive games and collaborative games. So I use a collaborative game where basically I put the name of a person on their back, a superhero, sometimes a historical person, but it's got to be a person. And then they basically just had to go around and ask questions. Who are you? There's another game called, I think, Name It, that's in the game book and the game app that you can use as well. But it's basically just a way for them to get to talk to one another because they have to ask each other questions, and they're not allowed to ask the same person more than one question. So they got to go around the entire group before they can circle back to that person. It means they get a chance to meet everybody, especially for the first night. They might not know everybody. Second thing was I actually taught through the Trek Check again as the big story. I use it as a big story and kind of use it as a teaching outline because if you tell the story well, if you tell that big story, which is all about what this next book is going to work through, if you tell that big story really well, then you'll keep their attention. And then finally, I took the time in their small groups to actually just have them go around and introduce themselves and talk a little bit about themselves. You can use a variety of techniques. I used one where basically I said write 5 identifiers about yourself on a card, and then I had them hand the card to the person next to them who interviewed them about it. So basically it said, hey, I like video games. All right, well, what's your favorite video game? That kind of thing. 2 minutes, then rotate, next person goes. You'll basically spend your small group time just doing a getting to know you. One of the biggest things that communication people talk about is just a basic level of understanding about the other people in your group will bring down the level of anxiety people have about sharing deep and personal, intimate thoughts that they're going to get to when they start talking about Trek. How do you feel about God? That's a hard question to answer if you're with a group of people you don't trust or barely even know. So I spent the first week really trying to help them get to know one another, because as they're moving forward, they're going to have to feel safe. And so for the most part, I tried to put them in the small groups that they were going to be in for the rest of the year that first night. That was crucial for me because I want them to know this is your group of people and this is a safe place for you to share. That's usually what I did for the first night. That then allowed me to kick in the next week and really dive deep quickly because they all knew each other and they knew each other's names.
Cool. I have a journey question.
Yep.
What is the required book for Bible quizzing for 2017 and 2018? Do you have this off the top of your head?
Yes, our timetable runs out on the website. You all notice that. Isn't that great? Well, the truth of the matter is our goal is that by that time we will have a brand new book ready for you. And that will be the new Bible quizzing book. So to the best of our ability, be aware things change and we'll work it out. But to the best of our ability, the goal is to have you a brand new book. So whatever book you choose when you're choosing your option this year won't interfere, because realistically that book will be brand new and it won't cover anything from the previous books. There'll be some components in there that are similar, but trust me, it'll be a completely different book entirely. So the 2017 quiz book has not been released yet because it hasn't been built yet. We're working on it as we speak.
And this year's book that Bible quizzing is based off of for 2014, 2015, do you know which one that is?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. Let's see. I can look it up real quick. Well, wait, actually, it's... let me see here. Pop this up. It's actually on the website, I think. I can get the website to work. Hold on. I knew you were going to ask me this, and I'm like, I'm totally going to blank out when they ask. 1415 is on the Rock. I thought that's what it was, but I wanted to make sure before I said it because I don't want people going, wait, you said the wrong one. It's on the Rock. So the On the Rock Bible Study is the one they're quizzing off of for this year.
Great. Some confusion about where to access the presentation slides. And yes. If you could just quickly address where we can find, where the leaders can find that link for the presentation slides, and just any other details to make sure we get the right address.
Okay. So first of all, the link for the slides is in the first, like if you open the first page of the leader guide, it'll be right there on the left-hand side. It has a picture of the slides at the bottom, and then at the top it has the link. The link is awana.org/Trek1 presentation slides. We've had some people that basically thought they knew what it was, and so they started typing it in, and then when they got there, they went, wait, this isn't working. Something's not right here. If you type in the address exactly as it appears in the book, you will get to the right website. However, if you try and substitute the words PowerPoint instead of presentation, or you just write Trek, well, these are the Trek 1 slides, so not the Trek 2 slides. So it's got to be Trek 1 presentation slides. Now, some other people had some problems because they were typing in AwanaYM.org instead of Awana.org. We fixed that, so if you type in AwanaYM.org or Awana.org, both of those will take you to those presentation slides. The issue seems to be more often than not when people are guessing or not typing it in exactly as it appears. And the reason, some people asked us why we made the URL so long. Part of it was because we don't want it to turn into something that just kind of gets passed around. We wanted to make it at least difficult enough because it's literally out there. You can pass it on to anybody. They are basically out in the open. But we wanted people who had purchased the leader guides to know where those were at, because it is kind of included in the leader guide as part of that. So that's why the link is in the leader guide and not in the discussion guide. The discussion guide doesn't have any interaction helps or large group teaching helps. That's why the link's not in that book. So if you have a discussion guide and you're wondering why it's not in there, it doesn't have those two helps in it. It only includes the small group resources. The leader guide has it in there because it includes all those extra resources, and we wanted to make sure that we got those as easy as we could. But it is awana.org/Trek1 presentation slides. If you type that in, you'll get there. If you have issues, just let us know, and we'll do our best to help you get to the right place. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you get the resources that you need.
I have somebody who, this is their first year with Trek. What awards do their clubbers work towards besides Trek bucks?
Well, first of all, I think you have to think through, Trek does awards a little differently than if you've been working with TNT or Sparks or something like that. They have a very clearly laid out plan for, well, I want, this pin or this jewel or this bone or whatever. They know exactly kind of how that goes. As you start moving into Trek and you start getting into middle school students and then into high school students, you'll start realizing that that kind of award system doesn't motivate them the same. So we've provided a couple of different options and some specifics. So the big award, the one that they're all working toward that actually has scholarships attached to it, is the Meritorious Award. They will need to finish, depending on how you run TNT and Trek together. That's really the thing that causes people most issues is basically you have to finish 6 books, whether that's 4 TNT books or 2 Trek books, or 3 TNT books and 3 Trek books. You still have to finish 6 books to get a Meritorious Award. Below that, you have some book awards. You have some other minor awards, but if you're talking about how to motivate them on a week-to-week basis, which sounds like the question as far as like Trek bucks go, we really actually provide quite a few of a variety actually of different awards for them. If you go to the AwanaYM store, I believe that's store.awanaym.org, and you can check out all the things that are on there. It has all kinds of stuff from little stress balls to finger rockets, all the way up to T-shirts and different things like that. It's going to come down to, though, you deciding when you want to give the award. If you're going to give the award, say, at the review, so every 8th week you're going to give awards away for people who finished, that's one thing. If you're going to give them away every half year, so a lot of people do them around Christmas time, and then do them around the end of the Trek year, sometime in April or May, depending on when you end, it's pretty easy at that point to talk through, okay, well, let's look at the store and we'll figure out exactly, and if you want to use Trek bucks to then buy stuff from the store, that can work. If you want to just kind of keep track and say, okay, people who get here get this level. We are working right now, and we're trying to work through what it would look like to create gift cards for you to give away to students come December and at the end of the year for Trek. But what I want to get across to you is how you incentivize them really comes down to how you want to engage them. Part of the award structure can be, especially with Trek and Journey students, to think through if I know that a lot of people were giving away gift cards to different places, coffee shops and things like that. I think the key for me there is if you're going to do that, then make yourself part of the award. And by that I mean don't give them a gift card, take them out for ice cream, take them out for coffee, take them out so that they can engage you. One of the things I learned a long time ago as I was a youth leader was that the students wanted me as much as they wanted anything else. They wanted somebody who cared and listened and talked and engaged them because my attention was extremely valuable to them. The most valuable thing in the world at the moment right now is your undivided attention. And they will fight and work and do whatever they can to get it. So I would encourage you as often as possible, if you're going to give them a gift card to go somewhere, food or someplace to hang out or play or whatever, make yourself part of that. Take 2 or 3 of them out. I know some different people have told me they've taken their students out for dinner. So they take, these 4 students all finished their book. They all finished what they were supposed to be working on. We take them out for a nice dinner. That's your decision. I think you need to incentivize it based on your students, and you have to understand that the students all over the country are very different about what they value, about what they care about. We have provided those awards and incentives at the store at AwanaYM. so that you have options, so that you can work through what that looks like. But just think through, and maybe even, and I know this is going to sound a little crazy to some people, but ask them what they want. Show them the store. Ask them what they like. What would it that would get them motivated? Is it a backpack? Is it a whatever? But make them part of the decision-making process. You'll find out a lot more about where your students are at and what they value by just asking them, but then simply trying to say, well, we're going to do this, and then hoping they like it.
Along those lines, in the store, apparently we took away the magnet cork board. Do you know, are there plans to replace that or come up with anything else along those lines?
We're looking into a variety of products that we're trying to get ready to release. We know we've got some other people who are kind of excited and also a little trying, not frustrated, but just sending us emails because we made a Trek sling bag that they all loved, and apparently it's sold out. So we're working on getting something in there for you that's a replacement for that, either one like it or the same, but we didn't anticipate that Trek sling bag doing as well as it did. So we're working on that. I think I would say, I don't know about the Trek magnet boards. I know that that was part of an award system for some people in the past. We're going to look into a variety of different things there. I don't know that that one's coming back. I think, if I'm correct, it might still be on sale at the Awana store online. So if you love those, then go check them out. If not, I know that we were discontinuing them. We had some quality control issues with them, and so if there is a demand for them and there's a lot of people who want them, the reality for us is we want to help you create awards and incentives for your students. So if you've got something you really want, please let us know, and we will look into it and see if it makes sense for a group of people that we can say, okay, this is worth looking into and taking care of for them.
Okay, I'm seeing if we have any other questions right now. We do have several questions about Summit, and I know we're kind of working on getting more information ready to go on the website for that. Any insights or anything to Summit that you can tell us?
Yeah, I've actually, and even from some of the survey stuff we've done on the Summit site, been hearing basically that it's a 50-50 split. That there's a lot of people that are wanting to go to one or the other, but it's working out to be about half and half. So I'm really excited. I've heard some people who've told me that they basically haven't been to Summit in a long time, and they're really excited now because they think they can get there. It's close enough to them, and they're really excited because they think, hey, you know what, I can get to that site because that's a lot closer than Chicago was for me. The sites are coming together. I've just heard some basic stuff about, and obviously I'm not running the logistics for the sites at this point, but I've heard some logistics that they talked with me about the different places that they're going to go and some things that they're doing. And so I'm really excited about that. I know that there's a lot of people that were really disappointed in the fine arts announcement, and trust me, I am as well. But the one thing I wanted to make clear to all the leaders and all the students is some of you that wrote me back essentially talked about your experience performing at Summit. And I'd just like to say, first of all, we're not taking that part away. So if you want to perform at Summit or your students want to perform at Summit, please submit your name, what you're doing, whatever venue it is. If it's art, they're going to try and put up galleries. I've already had a conversation with them. And if it's art, if it's music, or whatever it is, send it to us. Send us, hey, my students want to participate in this. They want to show off here. What summit you're going to, the name of the student, what kind of venue or what kind of medium they're going to use, and let us know, and we'll forward that on to the people running those sites. They need fine art students to perform and to display, but it's not going to be a competition. That's really the only difference. You're not going to be judged. There's no adjudication. That's not happening at the moment as far as I know. So just to be clear, please don't feel like the performance aspect that some of you cherish so much is gone. It is there. We just need you to send us your information so that we can forward it on to the right people, because they will be looking for people to sing and play music and do some other stuff during the Summit citation ceremony. They'll be looking at different nights of the week, and they're going to do an offering. They need somebody to play this or to sing here or to give a speech here. So send it to us. We'll forward it on to them, and they can take a look at it and decide who's going to get to perform live at Summit. But there is no competition. That's really what's there. And again, I'm as disappointed in that as you are.
Okay. Looks like that's probably all the questions we have for today. So we'll be having a hangout every 2 weeks. And
Yes, that's the goal.
if you can't do a hangout at noon, let us know what time or nights work better for you, just so we have that information.
Definitely, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're getting to the questions that need to be discussed, but at the same time, we want to engage you, if we can, live as much as we can. So let us know if there's a better time that works for you, and if we can find a time that works for a lot of people so we can get the questions answered, we want to do that. Otherwise, feel free to post them to Facebook, feel free to post them to Twitter, and we will get to your questions on the next Google Hangout. I just want to wrap up, unless we have any other questions.
Nope.
I want to wrap up real quick and say my experience with this new group that I've started has been a phenomenal experience. I've been really excited just engaging leaders and hearing their discussion and hearing their feedback, but I've been fascinated to hear how engaged students are when we start discussing their faith with them, when we start pushing them to work it out. What do you believe, and how does this work, and how do you feel about it, and what are you going to do with it? Just watching them light up and tell me stories and tell me, oh, I think I'm going to do this week, or I'm going to do that this. That's amazing. The opportunity to pour into the lives of students is both a challenge, and I recognize that. It's an investment, but it's a blessing. And I've been so blessed just hanging out with these students and hearing their heart for God and hearing their heart for their friends and hearing how they want their friends to know who Jesus is, and they want to make sure they got the gospel clear so that they can talk to their friends about it. It's blessed me. Don't look around at your group and think, well, you know, I'm not sure that this group's going as well as I want. Look around at your group and realize that these students are growing, not only in their knowledge of Jesus, but in their love of Jesus. And as they do that, you are literally watching the church expand in front of your own eyes right now. Don't take that for granted. It's an amazing experience. And when you look back and you remember, like I do, all the students that you've invested in, and then watch them as they grow, and watch them as they go out and serve, and watch them as they head into ministry, and realize that you played a small part in that. That God is using you right now to build His church both now and in the future. Be blessed and encouraged. You are doing His work, helping students know, love, and serve Him. God bless. Have a great week.